And how do you get from identifying burnout to recovering from burnout?
Right. So, like, the first thing that we advocate for is like you have to first and foremost learn how to slow down. So, it's the foundation of everything because if you're constantly adrenalizing or if you're constantly moving, you lose clarity, you lose visibility of what the problem is and how you can solve it. So, first thing we do is talk about different ways that you can slow down. And I'm just gonna like I have this open like on my screen. So we have a list of different methods for slowing down. So one is prioritizing, substituting, underscheduling, playing, concentrating, pacing, pausing to relax. And we go into each of these things and we teach you basically how to do this. And there are exercises like involved with these things. And so we spent quite a bit of time focusing on slowing down and also learning how to sleep and rest and discussing like what good sleep is. Like just because you're in bed for 8 or 9 hours doesn't mean that you're sleeping well. So how do you get the most out of your sleep and what constitutes good sleep? Like there are different sleep stages, and it's not just about hitting each of these sleep stages. It's about the amount of time that you're in each of these sleep stages as well. And so a lot of it is like measuring your health, also like creating a time budget or visibility into how you're spending your time and carving out time for taking breaks. So a lot of times when somebody will reach out to you, they'll be like, hey, do you have time on Thursday for this thing? And it'll be like, there's nothing on the calendar on Thursday. Is there really nothing on the calendar, or is that when you were going to take a break? Because like just because you were going to take a break doesn't mean that it's not important, like, or that it's less important than this thing that somebody is reaching out to you for. So yeah, and then we go into recognizing internal, external pressure, artificial pressure versus real pressure. We kind of talked about it earlier. What real pressure is like paying your bills and making sure that you're healthy, making sure that your family is healthy. Fake pressure is like, I don't know, organizing an event at work that like somebody else could do if they have more time to do it. Like you don't have to necessarily be the one picking that up. And then also a lot of our OS is focused on the person and what the person can do. But of course we spend some time like, are you in an environment where you can succeed and you can be healthy? Because if you are not, then this probably won't work for you. Like you have to be somewhere where people are going to respect your boundaries, they're going to recognize your boundaries, and they want the best for you. So if you're not in that environment, like we'll still talk to you and we'll still share all these things with you, but this is how you recognize if you're in a healthy workplace or a workaholic workplace.
Right. One where your boundaries and your values actually mean something, and it's not just, incredible. One thing that you mentioned that really struck a chord with me, Michelle, was the idea that you when your calendar is empty, is it actually empty, or did you secretly hope that this time was for recovery? Gosh, I'm so bad at this. Like this happened to me today, and it happened to me tomorrow. It's going to happen to me tomorrow, where like I had nothing going on tomorrow evening. I sort of low-key hoped that this would be just to like play Fortnite and recover a little bit. But somebody was like, hey, I'm going to be in town at a conference. Do you want to come to have dinner with me? And I was like, yes. And like, it's like, I like them. They're nice people. But at the same time, we do have a social battery, right? And so I was hoping I could recover that social battery, and I still can, but at the same time, I do want to see them. And so like, I just sort of appreciate how, this is very complex, because it's not as simple as I'm just not going to do it because I really want to do it. And I think this is the thing with addiction. I may be socially addicted. You continue to do things that harm you. I believe that's what makes it like an addiction a bad thing. But also then we're told that actually social connection is good for you. But then too much of a good thing is a bad thing. Gosh, I probably seem a bit like Charlie Day with the cork board, meme. But like, I'm going to be more protective of my free time, I think, based on that. Okay, so there's burnout recovery, which is you recognize your addiction style or your problematic style, and then you, in the OS, in the operating system, in the framework, there's a lot of tips on how to relax. Go outside, touch grass, take a break, go to the bathroom, drink some water, drink some Element, etc. That's burnout recovery. So now let's assume the person has gone through this. It's worked. I'd love to actually hear from you about like real world case studies on this after. But so let's assume that this has worked now. People have gone through it. How do we get to preventing burnout and making sure this never happens again?
A lot of it is what I just discussed about the slowing down and creating your time budget. But we also offer like a lot of tools. So like, okay, we'll have a philosophy like how to slow down and what that means and whatever. And we all agree like managing your time during the day is a good thing, but also like, what does that even mean? How do you find the right method of doing things? So this is where we provide a lot of tools. So like one of the tools that we provide is called an Essentialism Plan. An Essentialism Plan makes sure that while you're working on the right things so that you're moving the needle at the end of the day and you're still getting everything done. Looking at the work that you're doing, does everything move the needle? So we have this concept that we drew from this woman, Amanda, on Twitter, and she described her work as offensive versus defensive. Offensive work is work that gets you to your goals and pushes the needle. Defensive work is work that needs to be done but doesn't necessarily get you closer to your goals. Examples of defensive work are like answering emails and Slack messages and stuff like that. So you want to be cognizant of like what your different tasks are. And so when you're making an essentialism plan, basically you back up from your ultimate goals. What are your ultimate goals? What are the things that you want to get done by the end of the year, that you want to see happen at the end of the quarter? And then you take those goals and you break up the work into like 2 week. We do 2 week segments. You can do 1 week. You could do 3 weeks. It's whatever works best for you, which you'll hear a lot. Like, here's a tool, use it however it works best for you. But for us, 2 weeks. And everything that goes on your essentialism plan is offensive. And it's something that you want to have in front of you, something that you want to keep in front of you. Gabe has his on his desktop. He sees it all the time. I would keep mine on a whiteboard or whatever, but you want it to be someplace that you can constantly reference or remember. Everything on the essentialism plan is actionable. So it's like draft this, launch this, review that. Everything is an action. And it's only like 5 or 6 of your highest priority things. So this is not an ultimate to-do list. This isn't like all of the things that you have to do. These are like the most important things, and they're put up front. And these are the things that you're going to do over 2 weeks. And then off of that, you can create daily action plans. And these are a little bit more like to-do lists. Gabe and I do ours a little bit differently. So Gabe, he makes his daily action plan like, okay, from the things on my essentialism plan, what are the things that I'm going to do today? And he makes a bullet point list. For me, I like a time schedule. So I'll be like, okay, of the things that I need to get done from 9 to 10, I'm going to do this. From 10 to 11, I'm going to do this. The schedule just works better for me. So it's however works best for you. But those are 2 of the tools that we would say for like burnout prevention. Everything goes back to clarity, like just having like intense clarity on your life.
I'm going to take that one and run with it. Offensive versus defensive. That's so cool. I've never heard someone put it that way before.